Hello and welcome to Conversations in Public Relations. I'm Mary Fletcher Jones. You know, public relations isn't limited just to corporations or agencies. A lot of people work in PR for nonprofit organizations, especially here in the Washington, D.C. area. Today, let's meet Rachel Maleh. Rachel Maleh has almost 20 years of experience in creating and planning outreach campaigns that inform and educate community members, elected officials, and media representatives through mailings, presentations, display materials, promotional materials, and events. As the Vice President of Public Awareness for VSA Arts, Rachel is responsible for the organization's external relations programs, including media relations, publications, events, and as well as the visual arts and performing arts programs. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mary. I'm really glad to be here.
Rachel, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, Mary, the first thing you need to know is that I just love communications. I'm really lucky that I kind of fell into it. Back in high school, I worked on the school paper, probably like many of us did, and was involved in event planning, was kind of always the organizer with my friends. Kind of pursued that in college, went to grad school, fell into a great internship, which led to a job here in D.C. And I've loved communications. And one of the reasons I love communications is it's constantly changing. It's always like a dialogue. The field has changed. When I was in grad school 20 years ago, marketing and communications were two very distinct departments. They did not merge. When I got my recent MBA, they were integrated, and everything was an integrated communications plan. I mean, it's constantly evolving and changing. I mean, when I first came to DC, no one had a web page. Now everyone's got a web page and maybe Twittering and Facebook and MySpace. So it's a way to constantly stay fresh and current professionally. And even though you may be doing the same thing, be it media relations or publications, there's always a new way to do it.
What do you like most about your work?
Well, one of the things that I love about my job, especially at a nonprofit, is the opportunity to wear a lot of hats. Oftentimes, you may be a one-shop person. When I was the director of communications at a nonprofit, I did everything. It was just me. So I did the publications, I did the layout, I did the media relations, the board liaison, the fundraising, the letters to VIPs, the special events, the conference planning. So it never got boring. There was always a project to go to. If you're having writer's block and you can't do a press release, then you go pitch, or you work on layout, or you edit, or you go and figure out where's your next event going to be, and how are you going to promote it, and who's the target audience, and who's going to speak at this event, what's the point of it. So there's a lot of opportunity, and a lot of projects, and a lot of reasons to stay busy.
So any new communications initiatives you can tell us about?
Projects that we're working on. We're kind of slow getting into social media, but we're getting there. We have a Facebook page, so if you are on Facebook, become a fan of VSA Arts, get our updates, meet other artists, people with disabilities, people who are learning through the arts and just really interested in arts education. Some of the other interesting things that we've got going on communications is we're looking at our messaging and our branding. It's been about 10 years since we've done that. So it's a healthy, natural exercise for an organization, and it's going to be interesting, I think, the outcome to see as the organization has grown over the years. We're in our 35th year, and we're a lot different than we were 35 years ago. Part of the reason we're different is our programming is different, our scope is different, the resources and the size of the organization are all different. But the field of disability and arts education is also very different. So how has our programming, while it's grown and evolved, how has our messaging kept up or not kept up to the programming and to the words that we use in the field? So that's an exercise we're going through right now. We've conducted focus groups and a media audit, and I hope to have it done by the end of summer and find out that our programming and messaging all line up, and if they don't, to get us that it's all lined up at the end of the year. So that's really that's an exciting project to be working on, but it's also a really important project in the evolution of an organization, and certainly in an anniversary year and at a 10-mark period from the last time that the organization did it. It's a healthy time to do that.
In what ways do you think it's different to work for a nonprofit organization as opposed to, say, a public relations agency or a corporation?
Well, Mary, I've never worked at an agency or a for-profit. For the past 20 years, I've worked at nonprofits. And actually, the first job I had in D.C., which is why I came to D.C., was technically a government agency. I worked for the U.S. Peace Corps. A lot of people don't believe that that's a government agency. They think of it as a nonprofit. It was really the best job I've ever had. It was just fantastic. A lot of growth opportunity. I got to wear a lot of different hats. And I realized then that it's really important for me to be close to a mission, to feel good about what I'm doing, to feel good about what I'm promoting, and to see the mission executed in the office as well as in the community. And that being able to do so helped me articulate as a communicator what the people I worked with were doing, why the organization needed to exist, and basically able to help me convey the essence of the organization when they were close to the mission. From there, I stayed with nonprofits throughout my career because of that initial love of being close to the work. And in a nonprofit, different than an agency or different than a corporation, when I talk to my colleagues or to friends who work there, we don't have a product per se. We're not trying to put something on the shelf. We don't have to get it to market. So a lot of the barriers and entry to the marketplace and sales, very different for us. A lot of what we're doing are either service providing or resource providing, clearinghouse, and filling in the gaps for a community. Different nonprofits I've worked with have either been very close or far from the mission, depending on the structure of the organization and how it was led. VSA Arts, I'm really lucky. I work with people who on a daily basis display and exhibit the mission. I have colleagues who have been there for 16 years and some who are just starting in their career and are getting bitten by the nonprofit bug by working at VSA Arts. The mission in our office, you can see it in our office. You can see it in the artwork on the walls. You can see it in people that come into the office and the programs that we have in the communities and the schools across the country and around the world. It's a great place, and it is opportunity, and I keep saying that word and I keep coming back to it because you wear so many different hats. I have staff that they wear so many different hats even though they're in a department. Within performing arts, they help usher publications, they craft text, they work with artists, they get things to the stage, they do production. You know, I have people in the traditional role of communications and publications, and not only are they writing and editing, but they're interviewing artists and teachers, they're getting the stories, and they're seeing how the work is modeled and executed on the ground. And it's a great, exciting, and there's energy that I don't see or hear from my friends that are not in nonprofits.
What advice would you give to someone who was interested in pursuing a career in nonprofit public relations?
I'd say go for it. Nonprofits have been great to me. I'd like to think that I've been great to nonprofits. If you're starting out, don't overlook the nonprofits. I think oftentimes people think, oh, it's a nonprofit, they're less serious, they're less professional. That's not true. Oftentimes we do more with less. There are more opportunities. You wear many hats. And there's a lot of growth potential in a nonprofit, skill potential, professional development, and support. So if you come to a nonprofit with a lot of energy and something that you care about, it's a mission and you care about the mission, you can't not do a great job if you care about what you're doing. And you'll be surrounded by people with a similar background and a similar attitude towards the work. And how can that be a bad place to be?
Rachel, thanks so much for coming to Conversations on Public Relations.
Thanks so much, Mary. I loved being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you.